Today we're going to be talking about which markets in Florida are stabilizing and which ones are still in a cooling pattern. I like to do these videos pretty often because even appraisers in our market, they used to look at every year. You know, they would look at year over year sales in order to get what they deem to be their subjective value on a property that you're buying for the purpose of a mortgage or a refi. Then they moved to every 4 months in Florida because the market was changing that rapidly. Now, you might end up with somebody doing appraisal month over month because the market is changing that quickly. And for that reason, I like to make sure that I'm giving you up to the minute information because it matters, and it especially matters from the off season to season. So if you're unfamiliar with what I mean by that, right now is our off season. It's hot as can be. So in the summer months, that's considered the off season. And then when it gets cold up north and it's snowing and it's icy, then that is our season. More people come to Florida. More people are looking to shop. Generally speaking, sellers will increase prices, usually somewhere in the ballpark of 1 to 3% is what you'll see in terms of a jump. But in some areas, you know, like Naples, coastal Naples, you might see 10-15%. So if you're seeing that, don't be surprised that happens. So I say that because that's the reason that I like to do these type of videos pretty often, because prices, trending, it does change. And if you're in the market to buy, you need to know these things. All right, so if this is the first time we're meeting, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Barrett Pastor, and I've been a real estate broker for about 27 years. So hopefully I'm coming to you from a place of knowledge and experience, and I can help you navigate all this Florida craziness. So if I can ever be of help, my contact information is always down in the description box. If you are ready to buy in this off season, send me an email, call me, whatever you need to do to reach me, I'm happy to help. If you're a couple, 2-3 years down the road, use this link. This is a consultation link for those folks that want to kind of put a plan in action. All right, so all of that said, let's dive into these numbers. Who is showing signs of cooling off and who is showing some signs of stabilizing out? All right, let's jump into it. All right, let's begin with Tampa. Tampa is starting to show signs of balancing things out. The market is trying to stabilize. So let's look at what the numbers look like. So Tampa is showing right now 6 months of inventory. That's really normal in the off season. So that's pretty consistent. That is definitely what I would consider stabilization of the amount of homes that are on the market. Median sale is right now in the first half of 2025. That's what I'm giving you here. Median sales are at $450,000. Now remember, that's everything. That's manufactured homes, that's condos, that's single family homes. So on average about $450,000. Every time I give you a median sale, I will get a comment where somebody will say,
I don't know where those are. I've never seen anything in that price range.
I get that. Just remember, it's everything. So it might be a 5-bedroom home versus a 2-bedroom manufactured home. We're looking at the median. So $450,000. And then average days on market, average DOM, if you see that just DOM means days on market. The average is 55. So not even 2 months, not bad. That is working towards a stabilizing market. All right, second one, Jacksonville. A lot of people ask me about that area up in that northeast part of Florida. So Jacksonville is trying to stabilize. They are sitting at 6.5 months on their inventory, and their median sale is at $472,000. That kind of surprised me a little bit that it was higher. Jacksonville is an odd market. It's one of those markets that you have pockets that are really, really good, and they kind of high tide pulls up all ships, you know what I mean? And then there are lower pockets that kind of pull things down. And so that's why I like to look at the median, so that we're kind of knocking off the very tippy top and the bottom. But it is starting to stabilize. That's good. That's a bigger city. Not so much resorty, but it is a market that we look at. Orlando, wait till you hear this. Now, you know that we've been talking about Orlando, and I've been telling you that they are really getting hit hard. There are so many homes on the market in Orlando. It's unbelievable. Worse than it's been in decades. So, first half in Orlando of 2025, they are up.
What?
1.4%. Now listen, 1.4, is that a lot? No, but you know what? It is a tilt. It's an improvement. And what happens with these little bumps like that, you know how I always say when we look at a graph, we don't want to see this. We don't want to see that rise to fame, that huge price increase, and then that crash. We don't want those kind of high peaks and lows. What I like to see that shows and indicates a stabilizing market is just a little bit of this, a little bump up, a little bump down. I think that's what they're experiencing right now, is that slight trend up. Now, time will tell. Will they continue that little bit of a jog upwards? We will see, because if you're looking for something in and around Davenport, Orlando, Kissimmee, in that area, Altamont, really hard for a while. So that's really good news for anybody that has recently bought in Orlando, Davenport, in and around that area, because you might start to see that little upward tick. And you know what I always say, right now, I get this question all the time. Is it the time to buy or is it not? And what I'm telling people is that, number one, we have to look at it on a micro level. We have to consider what you want. If you want something that's shaken down, filtered out, all those things, east facing, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, pool home, giant lanai, summer kitchen, if you have these really specific requirements, on big open water, things like that, then you have to realize that you're working to a 90% solution at best, and you may not get this great pricing. If you see it when your requirements are really, really strict, then you should generally go on it and try to get the best price that you can. Very important to make sure that we are hopefully buying in the valley, and most areas right now are sitting in the valley, which should mean equity will start to hunt you down. Will it take a couple of years? Probably, depending on where you bought and the deal that you got. All of that said, I answer that because I get that question all the time. I never like to pitch way out forward, because I don't know. In this market, I don't know if you should wait till 2026. Personally, if it's me, it depends what you want. That's what my answer would be. All right, and let me touch on Naples with this, because so many of you that watch my channel are looking in Naples. So Naples, Florida, are they stabilizing? The answer is yes and no. Again, we're on a micro level. There are some neighborhoods that are, some communities that are trying to balance out and stabilize, but Naples as a whole, Collier County as a whole, is still experiencing very long days on market. Lots and lots of inventory to choose from. Many, many price cuts. So to me, not yet. Not yet. I think they're going to try to get there. It does. It is a market that appeals to a lot of people, so it does bounce back. I think we're still in the gully. Summer of 2025, if you know that you want to buy in Naples, you should be seriously considering it now, because we are still in that gully. Like I said, there are factors that are still driving a buyer's market in Naples. So if you're looking there, you can still get good pricing there. All right, and what other markets are really cooling? Like, I mean cooling to the point of a freeze out. Fort Myers is seeing horrific numbers. Absolutely horrific numbers. Now, I want to make this mention to you. Some of you, and I understand why, are saying that up and down Corkscrew corridor, you know where I'm talking about, 41 and Corkscrew. Many of you see that as Fort Myers because it has a Fort Myers zip code. It is as far south as you can get. Generally speaking, we as agents and in the area, we consider that Estero because it's right there. Technically, it's right on the border, but you do have a Fort Myers zip code and a Fort Myers mailing address, but it is as shifted south as you can possibly get. So I want to make that clarification. When I'm talking about Fort Myers, we are getting north of that area. So Fort Myers is seeing extremely long days on market, on average 91, and it continues the pile-on of wreckage of homes on market. Also, Cape Coral, I already did a video on this, worst market, real estate market in the entire country. Very, very close. Second to that is Port Charlotte and then Punta Gorda. Now, some of you may say, well, what about Babcock Ranch? That's in Punta Gorda. Yes, it is. And you know what? I did a mini deep dive, we'll call it that, on Babcock Ranch because it is in Punta Gorda to kind of say what's affecting this horrible market in Punta Gorda. And it does tend to be the market that is not Babcock Ranch, you know what I mean, in and around the Peace River, Deep Creek, all in through there. That is where it's really, really bad right now in terms of the pileup of wreckage of homes. But if you like that area, good time to be targeting that area. Babcock Ranch is seeing a ton of price reductions, not just in resale, but also with the builders. The builders are giving away the farm right now, and you need to be aware of that because you right now in Babcock Ranch can get a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home with a pool for under $500,000. So if that's what you're looking for and you're willing to kind of hang out and wait for things to improve, like if you're good with staying off Zillow, don't buy knowing you got a good deal and then watch Zillow every single week and watch your home kind of inch up, inch down. Then don't watch the market for a couple years. Make sure you can stay for at least 2-3 years, and then you very possibly will be in an equity position. So that is the up to the minute first half of 2025 update of which markets are cooling, which ones are not, and hopefully that gives you a good idea of what markets you should target if you're interested in buying right now in the summer of 2025.